As the Pakistani government lurches from one political crisis to another, the decision makers sitting in Islamabad have decided to go ahead with a digital census exercise that appears to be almost comical, if not for its insidious intent. Flawed in its rollout, criticized by the very politicians that sanction it. The digital census is an attempt to make all the right noises of a functioning democracy in Pakistan. However, the truth of this exercise is not lost on anyone. Come with us as we dive deeper into this new attempt by Pakistan to show that it actually does try to take steps for the prosperity of its people, however improbable that may sound. Donning green jackets, these enumerators are on a mission to count every individual across Pakistan by using tablets and mobiles. They are part of Pakistan's first ever digital population and household census, which aims to give a more accurate picture of the country's population and will help for future planning and utilization of resources before the next general elections. It is believed that population density data not only helps electoral seats in Pakistan's parliament, but helps assign funding for basic services like schools and hospitals. The data collected after the census will help shape policy decisions in Pakistan, which are now based on the 2017 census that counted the population at 207 million people. However, previous exercises have been marred by allegations of miscount and exclusion of transgender people and ethnic minorities.
सेंसस जो है ये डिपेंड करता है इंतखाबात में इसके हवाले से सीटें बनेंगी और सीटें बनेंगी तो उस पर वैसे ही एतराज़ात ऑलरेडी हैं कि सीटें कम हैं या ज़्यादा हैं, कहीं वोटर ज़्यादा हैं, कहीं वोटर कम हैं, तो ये इस हवाले से तो शिकायत ऑलरेडी मौजूद हैं। अब अगर इस सेंसस के वजह से फिर कुछ इस तरह की चीज़ें बढ़ गई तो आपका इलेक्शन जो है वो भी जो है शकूक व शुबहात से देखा जाएगा और हो सकता है कि पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज इसके हवाले से कोई अपना लाएअमल तैयार करें, कोई ऐसा लाएअमल जो आगे जाके कोई किसी प्रोटेस्ट में तब्दील हो जाए।
There is already division amongst political parties in the country over the digital census. Pakistan's foreign minister, Bilawal Bhutto, who is also the leader of Pakistan's People Party, termed the census a flawed exercise. His party is part of a coalition at the center of the spectrum, under the banner of the Pakistan Democratic Movement, which was formed against then Prime Minister Imran Khan. The digital census in Pakistan has many other hurdles to overcome, as it will need to reach high conflict areas within the country, where data collection has been proven to be a difficult task. In the Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces of Pakistan, a large number of people in the remote areas have no access to information. Also, an armed struggle against the government and the army is ongoing in these provinces, which poses a significant hurdle to the census's accuracy. In Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, the regions under Islamabad's forceful occupation, people have already begun resisting and have refused to be a part of the digital census. Massive protests have erupted in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, as the residents here do not call themselves Pakistani citizens, and they have demanded the scrapping of the digital census in the occupied regions.
Now, Pakistan has launched Census 2023. They're counting how many people are in Punjab, how many people are in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, how many people here, how many people there. So, in this census, they come to Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir and they are asking people to sign, and they are putting their names under the column called Pakistan. When we are not Pakistan, we are a disputed territory, we are under occupation of Pakistan.
While other countries took years of preparation to carry out population censuses digitally, Pakistan rolled out its self-designed digital census project in less than a year. Its accuracy and efficacy raises many doubts amongst critics. According to Pakistani media, the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics launched the census within 3 months, with no surety of fulfilling recommendations by the United Nations Statistical Commission. The authenticity and secrecy of the data collected through Pakistan's digital census also remains in question. Experts even believe that the government may use the digital data for political advantage instead of efficient resource allocation for its people. Already facing mass distrust by the population, it remains to be seen whether this census exercise will be another Pakistani waste of resources and time. A popular private TV news channel in Kabul aired an all-female panel in its studio with an audience of women to mark International Women's Day. This was an incredibly rare broadcast, as since the Taliban took over, many female journalists were forced out of the profession. Last year, the Taliban banned most girls and women from attending high schools, universities, and from working for any NGOs. According to the International Labour Organization, the growing restrictions imposed by the Taliban, coupled with the country's severe economic crisis, led to a 25% drop in female employment last year. More and more women are now turning to self-employment, such as tailoring at home.
ولی آیا ښځه داسې نه ده ښځه حق لري د اسلام له نګاه همدارنګه د قانون له نګاه نه همدارنګه په ټولنه کې دا د دې یو حق دی چې هغه باید وکولی شي کار وکړي کسب وکړي تعلیم وکړي.
International organizations, such as the UN Refugee Agency, along with local charities, are providing healthcare training to Afghan women in order to save lives of mothers and babies in remote parts of the country. 40 young women from villages in the Bamyan province are enrolled in the 2-year training program, which started in April of 2022 at a hospital in the provincial capital. Afghanistan has the highest maternal mortality rate in Asia. The United Nations estimates that an Afghan woman dies every 2 hours during pregnancy and childbirth. Rahimi, for example, who has 5 other children, was bleeding and was in intense pain as she slowly made her way to her in-laws' house. Her husband was unable to find a car to bring her to the hospital, much less an ambulance, and riding a donkey was out of question. Rahimi's baby died shortly after it was born, and before an ambulance finally arrived.
خانم خیلی بلنده یک نیم ساعت راه می در پیاده تا اون مزنج دیگه رای موتر نداشت تا خیلی ده آمادم قد شوار خو باز اینم در خانه می خسور خمادم همینج که آمادم تا یه بیچارگو سی سو خیلی کرد که موتر پیدا کنی آمبولانس زنگ دمیزیاگل زنگ زدم که چیه مو دیگه اینی تو مشکل داره که هم وقت تا سو چیگه دیگه طفل مزدیس رفت.
A UN report presented at the Human Rights Council in Geneva criticized the Taliban over their abhorrent treatment of women and girls. The UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Afghanistan, Richard Bennett, found that the Taliban's treatment of women and girls may amount to gender persecution, a crime against humanity.
The Taliban's intentional and calculated policy is to repudiate the human rights of women and girls and to erase them from public life. It may amount to the international crime of gender persecution, for which the authorities can be held accountable.
The United Nations has also warned that a Taliban administration crackdown on women's rights is likely to lead to a drop in aid and development funding in the country. The United Nations has made its single largest country aid appeal ever, asking for $4.6 billion in 2023, to deliver help in Afghanistan, where 2/3 of the population, some 28 million people, require it for survival. However, the Taliban's bans on women accessing their basic rights has severely hampered aid efforts. It seems that what progress had been made for Afghan women over the last decades has been virtually washed away. While the country suffers at the hands of the Taliban and their ineffective policies and governance, it is the Afghan women who continue to bear the biggest burden.